This podcast is about you and your journey in music and how you got to where you are now. And we'll, of course, talk a lot about your current stuff going on. I don't know if you mind talking a little bit about Emblem3. Just
Oh yeah,
to,
totally. Of
okay,
course.
right on, man. Oh, well, why don't you first tell me about where you grew up?
So I was born in Los Angeles. I was born in Tarzana. I
Oh,
lived
okay.
there for like beginning of elementary school. Then I moved. My parents got divorced. My mom went to Seattle to live with her mom, and
Mm-hmm.
so I went up there and I lived there for like 10 years with up until like the end of middle school, and then I moved back to Huntington Beach for like high school and chilling, and I ended up actually leaving high school and just doing music and stuff. Yeah, I got a manager at like 15 who was like, "You're the best. You're gonna be." It was like right when Justin Bieber was starting. He's like, "You're gonna be better than Justin Bieber." I was like, "All
That's
right, let's
tight,
go."
man. Well, we'll get to that point. That's awesome. So
Yeah,
yeah, so you were in LA for what, 10 years, you said?
yeah. I mean, I was in Seattle for 10 years. I've
Oh,
been
it's
in
Seattle
LA
for 10 years.
now longer than
Hear
that
that.
time though.
Got
I'm
you. Right on.
27, so I've been in LA majority of my life.
Cool, cool. Well, how did you get into music?
Um, I got into music when I was really little. I just always loved it. My dad is a musician. He's a conductor, composer for classic
Oh,
films,
rad.
and yeah, he's always doing that. He's always had music around me. My mom is also a songwriter and a phenomenal harpist and just loves music. So it was just around us kids growing up,
Sure.
and I just got really into rock music like when I was actually I really got into it when I was like 6. I wanted to play guitar super bad, and started taking lessons. Like I hated lessons. I literally quit lessons like after 2 sessions. I was like, this is terrible. And then I kind of played it, but kind of didn't. And then like 11 years old, I picked it up again and just every day, all day, super serious about it. Started writing songs. Um, just fell in love with it and just taught myself.
Wow. Okay, so from 6 to 11, you just it was music not like really
I
there
mean,
as
I
much?
was into it, but it was like, oh, this is hard. Like it's you want to just skip the learning process and just go straight to shredding. And
Right, of
I
course.
was a kid and I was like, dude, this sucks, man. I just want to be good now. And then when I was like 11, I'm like, all right, let's buckle down. Let's freaking learn this thing because I want to be really good at this. And then, yeah, I started writing and singing and just, yeah, every single day.
Well, did you end up going back into lessons, or you're like, I don't need the lessons. I'm just gonna learn
Um,
myself?
So I got back, not really lessons, because I just didn't like the whole lessons vibe where you go in and you're like, oh, here's a scale, you learn.
Scales
I
and
started jamming with
theory.
this super lit, just jazz guitar player, rock jazz guitar guy. He was a town over from me, and he was a friend of my aunt's, I think, and either aunt, my mom. And he was just a shredder, so we would just jam together, and that was like the best. His name was Tim Halpin, and I would just go over there for like an hour after school and just literally just shred. And he would just be like, try this, like, I'd be like, oh, fuck yeah, let's go. It wasn't like lessons, he would shout out like, so do you know what you're doing and stuff, but he would never be like, let me, sit you down in silence and show you, and then you do it. And then I go, it was like, let's just free jam over songs and kind of learn and see what sounds and feels right.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm sure that, yeah, definitely kept you involved in like not bored with like, okay, I have to go home and play like the same scale 1,000
No, yeah,
times.
never gave me homework or any of that. He's just like, just keep jamming, and I of course really wanted to. I had drums and the lights and the amps and everything set up in my basement,
Hmm.
so I forced all of my friends to learn with me. I was like, "You're playing bass, you're playing drums, we're freaking going." And I did the same thing to my brother. He was like, "I don't want to play," and then he got really good, so then he wanted to stay in it too, and yeah, man, just kept doing it. It was
Yeah. Is
awesome.
your brother younger or older than you?
He's 24, so he's a little younger than me.
Okay, so you got to tell him which instrument you were like. I'm claiming guitar and
Yeah.
vocals, so you,
Yeah.
you pick between the rest.
Yeah. He would fluctuate between like guitar and bass, and we'd either both be playing guitar or he'd be on bass. And then he picked up the piano and he was really good at that. And now he's like a crazy producer, engineer. So
Hmm.
he found his aspect of it. I was like the lead frontman, singer, guitar guy, and then he
Hmm.
was like this miscellaneous covering all the other aspects of
avenues.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we had our other friend who was kind of filling in stuff, and then a drummer kid who we were just like, "You're playing drums," and he got really good at it too, and it was really fun.
Wow. Okay. So was that must have been like the first kind of band you formed was in the
Yeah, it was
basement?
called American Scholars, and
That's a pretty good name,
yeah,
actually.
it was pretty sweet. And we would like have like the American flag like mixed into our stuff, and it was like kind of schoolboy outfits, like with the tie and the button ups,
Ah,
and
you
we
had
were
like
like,
a whole thing going.
yeah, yeah, totally. It was like fuck the man, but we're schoolboys who like
Sure.
rebel, and like it was sick. Yeah,
We're rebelling in our school uniforms.
yeah, yeah. It was
Uh,
dope, man.
that's awesome. Did you guys play shows or was it just like the facade of the
Dude,
basement?
no, yeah, we played shows. Our first show was actually like we invited every kid that we knew, and we played it on top of. So our buddy had like a mini skate park. He had this barn that he
Whoa.
turned into a mini skate park. His dad was the shit, and he just like let us go nuts in there. And so we brought every kid that we knew in town to this skate park, and we played on top of this half pipe and had everybody just rocking out. And honestly, we felt like we were famous after that. Everybody in school and in town was like, "Those guys are the band guys. They're fucking lit." Like
That's rad.
it was
That's
really
really
rad.
so you guys
Best
had your
like
own
first
stuff.
month.
You had your own original songs and everything.
Yeah, we would do like Blink 182 covers and like some 41 and people like
Sure.
that. But then we wrote our own songs the whole time. Yeah, we had like
That's amazing. And then you
they
talked
were
about
trash, but people
uh,
like I don't
right. I
know.
mean, who cares?
Yeah.
Well, with that, you said you had a manager like super young at like 15.
Yeah, this guy, Danny, he was from LA, and somehow because my mom was like always super supportive and like shooting my music out to like
That's
record people
amazing.
and just like
Hmm.
just shots in the dark, like no, like doesn't know anybody, just blind emails. But so she reached out, she found this guy, and it turns out that he was like a distant relative, and he was in the music business. So she's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm gonna reach out to him." He heard the stuff. He was like, "Oh my gosh, I want to connect with family anyway. This is just crazy. I'm the music manager." And so he heard my stuff and he just like flipped out. He's like, "Dude, you're gonna be bigger than Justin Bieber. You're the man." So I like left my band and like friends and went solo and like signed with him.
Oh
Signed,
wow.
yeah. He was like, "Yo, you're really good, but the other guys are like not like because I was like super dedicated to it. My brother was really good,
Hmm.
but the other guys were still pretty sloppy. Like the
Sure.
drummer was like, kids and not like
Hmm.
super tight. Never played the click track, didn't like know anything about
Right. It was just
but
like to have fun.
but I was like super into it and the songwriting, and so he was like, "Come down and move in with me," and I moved in with him, and I got signed by this indie label called Sound Matrix from Orange County, and
Hmm.
recorded like my first EP or whatever. And yeah, I mean, it was really cool. He ended up being psycho, and it turned out really bad. I had to go to court and like
Oh
get out of the
man.
contract and like file a restraining order and stuff because he just got like he was trying to take like 100% of everything, and like
Of course,
yeah,
right? Trying
it
to
was
take advantage of a 15-year-old kid.
literally, yeah.
Yeah.
The contract that he had me sign without my parents like around or anything was literally like he gets everything. All money goes to him. He gets everything, and then he pays me like an artist royalty. It was like just completely backwards. Like
Right. He's
yeah,
like, and then the Irish royalty is going to go to the rent that he owes me for living with me.
yeah,
So
dude,
it's
yeah.
all coming back to
It
me.
was terrible, but
Oh
it
my.
started me off on like okay, people believe in me.
Mhm.
Things could happen. It just made me like fully believe like okay, wait, this is legit. I can go for this. If it's not
Right.
with this
Yeah.
guy, I'll find another person and just keep going. And then I invited my band guys to come move to Orange County with me. And literally, they ditched school. They hopped in there. And my buddy Drew, his mom had an Explorer. He just
Uh-huh.
said, "Mom, can I borrow the car?" Took the car, drives 1,000 miles to me in Orange County, and just sent it. And she's like, "What? You would what?" He's like, "We're gonna huge, Mom." And then she wasn't
Bye.
like super controlling or anything. She was pretty free. So she's like, "All right." And then yeah, we had the recording budget from Sound Matrix. They still wanted to work with me, even though I
Hmm.
didn't have that manager. And so we used that money to like put together demos and stuff. And started going to the high school, Huntington Beach High and Wilson High from Long Beach. I was going to Huntington. Drew was going to Wilson, and we were just dishing the demos out to everybody in school, just like,
Mm-hmm.
yo, you gotta check this out. And we were like the signed kids. We had this indie label, and we had our own apartment, and no one in high school had their own
Oh,
apartment
sure.
with
Heck
like
no.
money and stuff. So yeah, we were like instantly the cool guys, and just everybody was coming over, and they were loving the music. They're like, wait, you guys are actually good. This is like no joke. And so we ended up getting like hundreds of kids from the high schools coming out to our shows. We played like the Whiskey
Oh,
and
wow.
Roxy, yeah, a bunch of like LA strip venues, and
Mm-hmm.
then some bunch of Orange County venues, and literally having like 150 kids coming out. And yeah, so it just kind of took off and kept going, and we kept getting better and better. We finally started getting songs that were like compatible, with
Yeah,
the
yeah.
radio and stuff. So
Wow. With that apartment, I'm curious real quick. How, like, to still have the discipline to like play and write songs and like actually work for the band when you have like this place and like people want to come over and probably party with you. Like that must
yeah,
have been
I
pretty
mean,
difficult.
we were definitely partying and playing music, combining them the entire
Sure.
time, just experimenting with everything and just partying and writing. But it led to better songs. It led to life experience, meeting new people,
Mm-hmm.
girls, experimenting with, substances and things, and just like, just, and yeah, it led to better songs. And playing in front of people is so important for an artist who is growing and developing. You can't
Mm-hmm.
hide away and practice and then go out and do your first show and like have those nerves and be all scared and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Jamming in front of your friends and random people from your school all the time and winning them over literally makes you then go, this song's good, this works, this song sucks, this doesn't
Mm-hmm.
work. Because they'll tell you with their reaction, they'll either be like, dude, play it again. That's great. Where's the 40s? Let's go. Or they're gonna be like,
Yeah. Not paying much
cool.
attention.
Yeah, like that one was all
You could
right,
read the
whatever.
crowd pretty quickly.
Yeah. And the girls will be like, that one's my favorite. Oh my gosh, play it again. And if they don't do that, then you're like, all right, I guess it's not that lit. You don't win over the guys or the girls, then just ditch it and move on and write a better one.
Right on. Yeah. Well, then how did that all lead to eventually being on X Factor? Was that all part of that same like
Yes. So
string of shows?
we had several different members of the band. We had
Okay.
me, my brother
Mm-hmm.
Drew, we had this kid Jesse, we had this kid Evan, this kid Jared, this kid John, this kid Riley, and all just filtering in and out, like from different schools and different areas, and and Kenny and Kyle, like all these different kids. And so at one point we're in this band with Riley, and the substances started taking over, and like you said, like how to focus, we were kind of partying more than we were rehearsing. And we played this show, and this kid Riley like kind of tried to like take over the whole group, and he was like super, I don't know, he had a huge ego and just like super mean. And I was like not allowed to sing anymore. I'm like playing drums, and Drew and him are like doing the lead stuff. Keaton then quits the band, and he's like, dude, that's my little brother. He's like, dude, I don't want to be in this anymore. We go and right before playing the show. We go and we play this show. It's the worst show we've ever had in our lives. Like, it's just absolutely terrible. This guy Riley was just nuts. He's singing, he's messing up every line. He's like
Oh,
screaming stuff just out of key. And I'm not singing. Like I said, I was just playing
right.
drums, holding it down back there, trying to like get it.
Keep
It was
some sort of
terrible.
time.
Yeah, but I can't hear anything. They're not even playing what we rehearsed. It was just
Of course
absolute
not.
trash. And so right then and there after the show, like my parents, who were so supportive, they literally walked up and they're like, that was fucking terrible.
Yeah. What happened to your band?
Literally, what happened? We loved you guys a couple months ago, and this last like few years, and now you guys suck. What's going on? And the Sound Matrix guys, they didn't want to work with us anymore. They were like, dude, this is starting to get bad.
Mhm.
So we like had a super high, and then we went low. And right then after that show, me, Drew, and Keaton, I brought Keaton back into the conversation. I was like, dude, let's ditch all these guys and just get back to what we were focusing on.
Mhm.
And so it became Emblem3.
Okay.
And it was like, oh shit. We still had a drummer, and we had a saxophone guy, and those guys were really cool. And so we kind of brought them along. for the first couple of shows. That's how like Sunset Boulevard, one of our bigger songs in the
Mm-hmm.
beginning with Emblem3, has like the saxophone and like
Mm-hmm.
this interesting sound and stuff. It's just like just beach rock. And yeah, so we wrote Sunset Boulevard with that kid, and we're like, let's take that song and develop from there with just like the three of us as the core. And we got this band behind us. And so we did some covers. We did like this Maroon 5 cover of This Love. That
Mm-hmm.
started getting a ton of traction online. The Sunset Boulevard started getting a ton of traction just around, like every time we'd play anywhere, people would be like, that's like a hit. That's a good
Oh,
song.
okay.
And so right around within like 5-6 months of time of like ditching the other stuff and just focusing on Sunset as the sound and like putting out cover videos, X Factor hit us up. And they
Oh,
were like,
wow.
you guys would be perfect for this show. And we said no. We were like, no, we're not doing that. No way. My mom was like, you have to do it, please. My dad's like, do it, please. All you need is the eyes and ears and you'll be huge. Like, and we were like, no, that's lame. We're never doing that. We're a real band,
Yeah.
not a
We
boy
don't want to
band
be
or whatever.
a singing contest
We're
or
not
whatever.
sellouts, it's so stupid. Like, obviously just go and slay it. So,
Right.
but then the show said, look, you guys can play your original song, Sunset Boulevard. We really like that song. And you guys can skip the auditions and go straight to in front of the judges.
Wow.
Yeah. So we were like, okay, wait a second. Let's talk about this. And
Sure.
so we just rehearsed the entire like couple weeks leading up to it, like crazy, like all day rehearsals, and then went and performed in front of the judges, and then just slayed it. And Sunset took off. We got like 100,000 downloads of Sunset Boulevard the first night on iTunes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
That's
it
crazy.
literally went like, and all of us
Yeah.
had like hundreds of thousands of followers as soon as the episode aired, and it was just off to the races, bro.
That must have been nuts. Like, do you remember just looking at your phone and being like, wow, like,
Bro, so I
how
had
do you
my
even follow
notifications.
that? Yeah.
I had my notifications turned on, obviously, and I had like an iPhone 4 or something. So it's like it
Just
just
blows up.
heated up and it overloaded and like literally couldn't take it and died. And I had to wait until like I got a free like 30 seconds to go turn my notifications off and like get everything going because they were coming in so fast that I couldn't even access my stuff.
Oh my
Crazy.
gosh.
Yeah.
That's crazy. What
It
was
was
it
one
like
of the
playing
best
in front of
moments.
them and like the judges and stuff? Was that nerve wracking or was it kind of like just
Dude,
another show?
so honestly, yes, but no. Like, obviously, you're like, if something went wrong, that's the scariest thing ever. We were so confident by
Mhm.
this point in Sunset Boulevard and like our sound and our style and our vibe that we just went out there like so confident, just like didn't care if the judges didn't like it.
Mhm.
We knew that the audience would because we had been playing that song every weekend, in front of
Mhm.
hundreds of people, and they're absolutely loving it, coming up to us wanting pictures, saying that song's amazing. Where can they buy it? So we're like, we play this song, doesn't even matter what the show says, we're gonna win. And
Mhm.
so, yeah, we it was scary, but like at the same time, not that scary. And then they loved
Yeah.
it, and it was just amazing.
And you guys did really well in the show, obviously, and then you signed to his Simon Cowell's label, which must have been a huge moment for you.
Yeah, that was a huge moment. That was absolutely crazy. I was just like, Simon comes up to us and he's like, "Hey, I want to talk to you." And anytime he says anything like that, you're like, heart drop. You're like, okay, yeah, whatever you need.
Yeah, sure.
He brings us onto his trailer, and it's like, dude, it's the nicest bus I've ever been on. It's like marble floors and countertops and
Sure.
neon lights and
Of course it is.
bathtub, like right in the middle of the entryway. No bunks or anything, just a master bedroom with a huge bed and this giant bathtub in the middle. Like, it's just insane. And
You must like
we,
baths.
I think he liked baths. Yeah.
Okay.
It was like really nicely set up with like a little bath tray in the middle of it, like candles
Like
and
soaps that
lotion.
are made of the ones that look like little seashells.
Yeah, yeah, it was dialed. All right, it's Simon Cowell. So yeah, we go in there. He sits us down with the head of Columbia Records and
Mhm.
his label people, and also Larry Rudolph, a manager. And he was like, "I want you to sign with Larry Rudolph, and I want you to sign with me. And this is Columbia Records, and they have this deal already for you. Here it is." It was like,
Wow.
$750,000 recording contract, like you know,
Yeah.
cash, huge cash advance, and just like this is the craziest thing. And we're just like, okay, and just did it. Um, as we're walking and leaving though, this other manager dude comes up to us and he's like, "Yo, so what was that meeting about?" And we're like, "Oh, dude, we just got signed. It's freaking sick." And he's like, "Oh, really? Okay, well, be careful of that Larry guy, Larry Rudolph. He's like, that guy's a snake, blah, blah, blah." And like totally swindled us into thinking that Larry Rudolph was like the worst thing that could ever happen to us. So we
Oh
then told
man.
Simon, we don't want to work with Larry. We want to work with this guy, Jared, who we just met, who's like some guy on the side that was like given to us by the show. And Simon was like, "Are you sure? Like, that's weird, but okay." Um, huge mistake. Huge mistake. Jared was totally just lying. Like, he was not legit at all. We
Oh
probably would have had
wow.
an amazing time with Larry Rudolph, but this
Mm-hmm.
guy, Jared Paul, just fucking took us from it. And yeah, that's honestly like the start of the downfall of
Mm-hmm.
Emblem3. Like, we had a crazy uptrend ride for a long time after that,
Mm-hmm.
but this guy, Jared,
Sure.
just so many mistakes with this guy.
Yeah. Oh my gosh,
Crazy.
that's crazy that he would have just popped out and be like, "Hey, yeah, you shouldn't work with that one dude," and you're like, "Okay." I mean, you have no idea. You're like all in front of all these new faces. Who knows who they are? You know, when it comes to the industry.
Literally, yeah. I don't know. We didn't know anybody. I mean, our lawyer was given to us by the show. You know, our business management, our managers, the label, everything is like you're meeting all these people for the first time, and they're all
Sure.
saying you're the new greatest thing, and we're gonna make you, a gajillionaire, and
Mm-hmm.
like you have. They're just telling you everything that you want to hear,
Right.
and yeah, I was 17, just turned 18, and Keaton was 15, and
That's
Drew
crazy.
was
Yeah.
19. And so it was like, dude, we didn't know
You're all
that.
just kids I mean, at that
Yeah,
point, right?
yeah.
Like,
And so yeah, we had a crazy ride though. And
mm-hmm.
that Jared guy though, that was a huge mistake. But after that was really fun. We got into the studio, we started writing. We got to work
Mm-hmm.
with like the craziest writers ever, Max Martin,
Oh
people like that.
wow, you got to
Yeah,
work with him. That's nuts.
yeah, dude. It was insane. And the album did amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Chloe is like a gold record, and
Yeah,
the album was number 5 on Billboard when it came out. Like, it's pretty huge.
that's awesome. Tell me about getting that gold record. Wow. I mean, getting the mail with your name on it, just like
Dude, no, so I actually don't have the plaque. I never
you don't
got
have
the
the
plaque.
plaque.
No,
What?
I know. I don't have the plaque. I don't have like a contact with them anymore. Dude, things like as it got towards the end of it, things were getting so bad that it was like, all right, let's let them go,
Mhm,
and just kind of cut ties and just let it go. Like, it was
mhm.
better to let us leave than to try to fix it, because management team, train wreck. Drew in the band, he was just like he was going off like off the rails. Like, he was fighting with the creative control with everybody.
Mhm.
And so yeah, I really haven't like talked to those guys
Wow.
since.
Yeah. That's crazy. That I mean, that's unfortunate that you don't have that plaque though. I
I
mean,
know. I
that
honestly need
that
to
is
look
kind of a
into that
bummer.
and get that. No, I because I need to look into that and get that, because that would be sick to hang in our studio now.
That would be, right?
Yeah,
So, well,
no, of
let's talk
course.
about the good after that. I mean, you then what? You started another you put another record out, right, with your brother?
Yeah. So after we put out that album, we toured the world. We went to Brazil, we went to Japan, we went to Europe, we went to, just everywhere. And we toured with Selena Gomez, which was insane.
Wow, that's crazy. So you're playing
Playing massive arenas, like
sure.
30,000 seats a night, like just crazy. And yeah, it was insane, bro. It was absolutely insane. Chloe was a hit. We were touring, and we played with like Ed Sheeran,
Oh man.
other just massive artists that you're just like, oh shit. Um, all these radio events where you'd be on the lineup with just like Demi Lovato, Selena Gomez, Ariana Grande. Ariana Grande opened for us. Like, it was insane. Yeah, she was like, yeah, she was like, what? Oh my gosh, Emblem3. And yeah, it was lit. It was a good time. So yeah, then we got back from that tour. We toured for like 2 years. We get back. We're now supposed to go into writing our new album.
Mhm.
And this is where like the creative control thing was happening, where we had an album and we had Sunset Boulevard style dialed, and we wanted to make another like Sunset Boulevard and an album based off that sound again, because that was like
Mm-hmm.
the roots, and that's what everybody originally super vibed with. So we put together all these songs and we take them to the label, and they were like, no, we'll get you on the next one, which is what they said to us the first time. They were like, if you do this album, you guys get the next one. So then we go to them and we're like, we want to do this now, and they're like, no, you can get the next one. And so that kind of made us mad, and we were talking about like how to like, I don't know, do another thing. But our manager was so bad. He was just like, he sided with the label and was just like, maybe this isn't worth it, and like kind of derailed the train even more. So then me and Keaton were like, so then Drew was like, I'm out, and he like
Mm-hmm.
quit the band. So then me and Keaton were like, okay, let's keep writing and kind of blend the two and do like some poppy vibe songs and some
Mm-hmm.
like kind of rock songs. And we put out an EP, just the two of us. But it just doesn't work. It's Emblem3. It's not the same thing. So, but we toured with that, and we had some great shows, actually, some success. We were
Mm-hmm.
surprised that the fans were so loving. We have amazing fans. They are honestly amazing. They have come out to the shows with or without members of the group and just sing every word, and it's just incredible. Like
That's
that.
amazing.
At the end of the day, that's like the greatest thing that out of all of
Mm-hmm.
it. So we go out, we do this album, and then internally we just still feel incomplete. It's not the same thing. We take a huge break, and
Mm-hmm.
it was like a year and a half goes by. I start this other band with this kid called The Balcony. He was like an influencer. I just get like super into the influencer crowd.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like going on all these influencer trips and stuff, and Keaton's producing. Like we did some songs with like Jack and Jack, and like does
Oh, sure.
kids. Yeah. And then Drew hits me back up one day, and he's just like, dude, let's get the band back together. And so we did, yeah. And we went on a tour and just sold it out like immediately.
Instantly.
Yeah. And toured, and like, but we kept the same like business manager, and we got this new manager guy who was also terrible. And so the same issues that were there before were pretty much there again. Besides,
Uh-huh.
we did have more freedom in the music, but
Mm-hmm.
team is so freaking important, man. It is like you need that, that surrounding team of inspiration who fuel your ideas. They can they tell you no when they know you're wrong or something, but
Mm-hmm.
they work with you to help you understand it, and also, they say yes when they know they need to let you lead. So it's
Sure.
like super important. Any advice to anybody is like, get a really good team, practice like crazy, play in front of people growing up, and just like write your own songs. Like, and don't take shortcuts like I did. I don't regret it,
Uh-huh.
but I bet you that if we had just stayed the path, yeah, it probably would have taken like 5 more years, but we probably still would have made it.
Mm-hmm.
Because you just have the drive, and you have the songs, and you build and you build and you build. It's not impossible to build it from scratch. But
Sure.
anyway, we go on that tour, same issues, we break up again, and we're like, oh my gosh. But now, like another year and a half later, actually last year around
Mm-hmm.
this time, we got back together again, and we've now been writing all year up until now, and we have an album done, and so we're shopping right now, and we are gonna do more.
Wow. That's huge. That is huge. And
Yeah.
you've released, I mean, you're still doing solo stuff too, right? I
Yeah.
mean,
So during the
obviously.
whole time, any hiatus we had put the pressure on me to like, okay, let's try to create that same fire with me, myself. And
Uh-huh.
dude, just got really good at songwriting and got to meet a ton of people. Evan and Ruth and Fire Tower just have been incredible. They've introduced me to a ton of A&Rs and a ton of producers and other writers, and just kept harnessing the craft, and put out
Finally found some management that
yeah,
was about
dude.
to throw you off the
Good-hearted
rails.
management. Yeah, no, it's straight up. It's really freaking hard to find. But found it and put out some great songs. Home. Shout out
Yeah.
American Songwriters for playing that and getting it going. It's doing really well. Like it gets crazy streams every day. I love it.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's an
Yeah.
amazing song. And I was, well, real quick before we get into the new song that I actually had a chance to hear, it's coming out on the 11th, and it's freaking amazing.
Yay.
So where were you at when the pandemic hit? Were you on that tour, or were you guys already home and you were?
No, we were already home. That tour was in the end of 2016 and 2017, and
Mhm.
then we took a break, and then at the beginning of 2019, we started talking together again and started writing, and then we really hit like gas on it around like October. So October 2019 to October 2020, we just wrote the
Okay.
entire year. We've just literally been writing all year up until now. And yeah, so when the pandemic hit, I was just in LA. You know, it was really crazy. We were ready to hit, you know, play on tour, everything right when the pandemic hit. We would have been on tour if we had started it a month earlier than it was supposed to, you know.
Oh, wow.
It just happened to be after. So then we had to like postpone everything. And, you know, luckily it was right before we even released tickets. So it was like we didn't have to refund anybody or deal with any of
Mhm.
that. But every promoter and all our agent and everybody were just like, yeah, let's just wait and see what happens here, because obviously everyone had to cancel. So
Sure.
we would have been touring all 2020, and we would have
As
already been
Emblem
out.
3?
Yeah, we would have been out with
Oh,
the album and
wow.
everything. Yeah, but so
Wow.
that let us just keep writing, and now we have even better songs. So
Mhm.
blessing there, and when we can, we will tour, you know, again. We're talking about doing some of those like fly in, you know, drive in
Oh,
shows.
yeah, the drive-in things?
Yeah,
Those are cool. I've seen a
yeah,
couple of them.
yeah.
I was talking to, I think it was Head from Corn. I was talking to him and he was
No
saying that
way.
he was talking about they did a drive-in show and he was like, instead of the horns, it's the horns. Like instead
Yes,
of throw up the horns, he's like, give me the horns. And he was like,
dude, I'm gonna steal that. Dude,
Dude,
that's
it was like
amazing, bro.
hilarious.
Make some noise. Let's hear the horns. Dude, that's epic, bro.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was pretty funny. Well, okay, so Home came out. That was in last year, and
Yeah.
then the most recent one you released was a couple weeks ago.
Yes. Yes. I'm trying to release
Okay, so
material
those were songs that you
every.
had.
Yeah, those are songs that I had written during the hiatus and perfected them, and then had them ready to launch. I was gonna like do a bunch of solo music coming
Mhm.
out at the same time that M3 was coming out. It's gonna just kind of be everywhere. Um, but then the whole thing didn't happen, the pandemic. But decided, let's just keep releasing material for me, because I want to keep building that up. And every like
Mhm.
3 weeks to a month, I try to drop a new song. Like, and that's just kind of with the algorithms, the way that streaming works now. It's like consistency is super key. And
Mhm.
every time I release a song, my monthly listeners go up and my followers go up. It's
That's
just the same
huge.
thing with like, yeah, if you're on Instagram, you got to post like all the time or whatever.
Right,
So
right.
yeah, so I try to, and luckily I can write songs like every single day. I could write a song, so don't run out of material really.
That's
So
good. I was gonna ask if you got it. Like, were you like uninspired after a certain point, amount of time sitting in your house, or like it didn't really affect you that way?
I've lived a lot. I lived a lot of life, so I have a lot to talk about and share. Luckily, if
I
I
like
hadn't
that.
done anything and then was trying to like start writing right now, I would probably have nothing to say. I'd be sitting around super bored. But luckily, I have a lot to share, and so yeah.
Amazing. And I want to talk to you about the song coming out on the 11th, Stay the Night.
Yes,
That's an amazing song, man. Talk to me about that one.
dude, love it. It's one of my favorite songs. It's got this like, you know, just clean pop guitar over this
Yeah.
like kind of trappy hip hoppy beat, and it's like got that chorus that I just absolutely love. I wrote it with this guy Rockman, who is like just amazing. He does a ton of stuff with K-pop,
Oh, wow.
um, and so I've been also writing stuff for them. But and this other artist Seven, we just got together and we wrote this song, and it's one of my favorite songs. Honestly, I love it. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's gonna be good for me.
Sure. I mean, yeah, it's awesome. What about like videos? Are you doing music videos right now or not focusing on that?
Yes, and that's something that I definitely need to step it up on. But I have been planning to do a music video for Home, and a music video for Sober, and a music video for Stay the Night. So those
Very
are just some
cool.
of my favorites.
That's awesome. That's awesome. When you write a song, do you know it's going to be your solo thing or Emblem 3, or it has to be written with the other guys for it to be like an Emblem 3 song?
So That has happened before where it was supposed to be a solo song that I then showed them, and then they were like, let's take this over and do it as the three of us. That's happened a few times.
Okay.
One of the sessions Evan put me in, actually, I sent him the song later after doing it with Emblem3 when he was like, wait, I thought that was a solo song. Like, what the heck? But yeah, that happens. And then sometimes, an Emblem3 song, we'll start writing it together, and then I'll love it and they won't feel as strong. And so I'll just do it. That happens. It's great. I love it.
Yeah. It'll get out there anyway. That's cool. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, do you have an EP or a record coming out just as Wesley?
Yeah, I have so much material. I literally have like 5 different EPs that I am, have, and I'm ready to drop them. Just kind of finding the right partners for it to help release it, the right distribution. And so I have my album, which is Spare Parts for Broken Hearts. That's gonna come out soon, sometime this year, hopefully. I've said that so much. And then I have literally like so many other EPs that are gonna come out too. Just every 3 weeks, something's coming out.
I love that.
Yeah.
Very, very cool, man. And thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I really appreciate it.
Dude, absolutely. Anytime. Let's definitely do this again.
I would love to. I have one more question for you. I know you already kind of said the whole piece earlier, but if you could sum it up maybe in a sentence or two, it's just if you have advice for aspiring artists.
Advice for aspiring artists is practice like crazy, write your own songs, and find an amazing team that you trust and love that can help bring your vision to life.